What's up guys, it's your boy Colt. Today we're going to be covering the 7 most essential tools for a dealership technician. I know there's loads of tools out there, but today we're going to be covering the top 7 I personally recommend for starting out, especially in the field. Let's get to the video. Thanks for clicking. Let's get right into it. Number 1 on my list today, impacts. There's loads of them. We have air powered, electric, all the way from the small 1/4 inch all the way up to the big 1/2 inch. There's loads of reasons you want to use multiple of them. So for the intake that I use on a day-to-day basis, and it's great for everything from small to big work, it's my 1/2 inch air impact. People use electric, people use air. The main reason I went with air, shop supplies the air, and I feel like there's just a little more power, and it's a little bit more of a quieter operation. Whereas with the electric ones, you have a little bit more of a rattle to them. Especially if you're taking off, lug nuts that are stuck or stuck bolts. You're gonna really hear that rattle and kind of clank noise. Whereas the 3/8 impact for this instance, and this one is a Milwaukee one, it's great for engine bay work, taking off small parts like valve covers, air boxes, removing batteries. It's just a really quick, easy access tool. It's stubby, so you get into a lot of nice spaces, especially if you have extensions and wobbles. It gets the job done really quick. Whereas with the air impact, you're fighting that hose. There's a great pros and cons to both air and electric, depending on your application. Next up, Ranchets. Loads of them. What the hell do you choose? Not to worry, there's 3 main sizes. You got your 1/2 inches, 3/8, 1/4 inch. Lots of different applications for them, but the ones that I suggest the most, if you're a tech just starting out in the field, go to your Harbor Freight, go to Craftsman. Doesn't matter. There's lots of great resources and options, and they will just get the job done. You don't need to go to the tool truck, spend thousands and hundreds of dollars just starting out. There's no need for that. I personally started off with a lot of Harbor Freight wrenches, ratchets, sockets, and so on, and you upgrade along the way. So it's a great thing to invest in, and you don't need to spend lots of dollars right out of the bank. Next up, you have your flex heads here. Real nifty. I personally have almost all flex heads. Some guys don't, some guys do. Again, personal preference. Your fixed head ratchets, they're a lot nicer for stuff you really don't want to bind up or move. You just want to get it snug and straight. Again, all up to application. And then a question I personally get asked a lot, breaker bar, ratchet, what do I choose? Breaker bars are great for just working something back and forth or breaking something loose, hence the name. However, in my opinion, a ratchet does just the same trick, if not better. You can flip between backwards, forwards, move it back in position. I only have 1 breaker bar. I've seen guys with loads, I've seen guys with the small, big ones. Doesn't matter, it's up to you. Now this next one, sockets. Little self-explanatory. In our automotive industry, we need a lot of sockets, different sizes. The trend nowadays is a lot of metric stuff. Don't have much chrome. I use a lot of my impact sockets, they work just great. However, you do want to have some chrome for certain applications. I want to just take a look. The impact sockets typically have a really large base. The chrome ones are typically just a straight edge. So if you have a really tight spot or something kind of hard to get to, maybe chrome might be a little bit better option. However, for multi-use and daily use, I just go with my impact. Now, a tool that you're really going to want to consider is a decent multimeter. I'm not talking about the ones from AutoZone or Harbor Freight, something that's a little bit reputable. Now, you don't need to go out and buy an expensive fluke one, especially if you're not really planning to use it much. I have my Milwaukee one right here. I felt like it was pretty good bang for the buck, did the job. You can do a lot. You can measure your voltage, AC, DC. You can do frequency, ohm readings, amperage. There's a lot you can do with it, and especially starting off, highly recommend a multimeter. Now, as you get later down the line, you're a little bit more experienced and comfortable with electrical work. A power probe is a great and awesome ass tool. You can use it to send voltage, provide ground. It really helps a lot in shortening up that diagnostic time for electrical problems. This stuff definitely does hold a lot of power if you use it wrong. Having the clamp in a wrong spot, it got loose and it touched the ground, and holy shit, it was just welding arc right there. So definitely something you kind of be a little more comfortable with electrically wise. And if you do send it voltage and or ground at the wrong spot, you probably are going to be causing damage, especially the voltage one. Now, the humble test light. Not a lot you can do with it. It's very basic, just a very quick check is what I would consider it be. You know, you can check your power, you can check ground, hardly, and that's about it. You can't really do resistance readings, you can't get numbers, and all test lights are different. You have LEDs, you have bulbs. Not something I would 100% rely on personally, but it is a great quick check tool. Now, I got wrenches. Very self-explanatory, just like with the socket sets. You have multiple different kinds. You have your ratcheting kind, adjustables, just your standard combo wrenches. Again, very self-explanatory. Not a bad idea just to pick up a solid set of combination wrenches, both metric and standard. It just gets you started, it gets you in the game, and from there on, you can find out what you end up using more. Really do like the application of flex head wrenches. I personally don't even have any, which is funny. I'm always borrowing stuff, so that's something I'm going to be picking up later in the future as well. Next up, we got torque wrenches. Loads of different kinds. You have everything from a click beam style, to a standard style, to a beam style. If you're planning to use something for especially lug nuts, or just standard hard bolts, not a bad idea to get a click beam style. You can see right here, it's very easy, very fast to get your torque readings. You know, if you want to do 100 foot-pounds, you set it right there, lock it in. One direction only, so you can't loosen anything up, and personally, gets the job done very fast. There's a lot of affordable options out there right now. I've just seen some from Icon at Harbor Freight releasing, and they look identical to the Snap-on ones. So there's great styles out there. Now your beam style, you know, that's a lot for your rear differential work, where you kind of need to get some readings of turn to yield readings. There's a lot of different applications for it, and that's typically what these are for, is movement torque. And last but not least, for torque wrenches, just your standard torque wrench right here. This one's a 3/8 to be particular. You know, it does the job, it does it great. It's standard, it's simple, there's nothing much to it. Next up, tap and die sets. Lots of options. This one was actually the first one starting off in the field. It had a complete kit, and there is a lot of pieces missing nowadays, but hey, it did the job for me as I was starting out. You know, there's a lot of different brands. I would kind of stray towards getting a better quality tap and die set, especially because you don't want that stuff breaking off inside the bolt hole or marring up that bolt. A lot of them carry a great warranty, lifetime warranty, so if that case ever does happen, you have that replacement right there. They're absolutely essential, especially if you're living the Rust Belt like I do. There is a lot of strip threads, you got a lot of rusty threads, and it's not a bad idea to clean them up. Keep it easy on yourself. This is already a stressful enough job for some people, so being able to just fix up those threads gets the job nice. Now, an optional but not necessary, this one in particular is a rethreading kit for half shaft. Super ideal, especially if you're doing a lot of axle work, half shafts. It's not gonna hurt to get one of these later down the line. You know, especially if you're hammering on that half shaft and you're trying to reuse it, bam, you mar up that thread. It's a little tricky to fix that, especially if you have just a thread file. And typically they are really big threads. It's great for that. I don't use it whole often. A lot of guys will borrow it from me. Consider it kind of a small shop tool at that point. Lights, super, super critical in this job. How are you gonna see in the dark if it ain't light?
All the flashlights that I see all the time are the Streamlight ones. Personally, I do use them quite a bit. Definitely get the USB kind that we can recharge it every single day instead of swapping out batteries. And then for black lights, I just picked this one up out of AutoZone. I'm sure there's many better ones out there. These ones were just 20 bucks. Grabbed it quick, great for AC die leak. And a headlamp is also super nice, so that way you don't have to fish with the flashlight in your mouth and all that. Again, many different kinds.
For a bonus one, boots, footwear. We're on our feet all day long. Starting off in my field, I have gotten these Red Wings. Now, they did the job great. They were awesome. They were leather. All up to personal preference. I've seen guys wear tennis shoes, Keens, steel toe boots, soft toe boots. Go to your footwear store, try out a whole different bunch of kinds. First, I switched to these Redbacks right here. I never thought I'd be a fan of the slip-on boots, but let me tell you, it's a dream. You just slip them on, slip them off, instead of tying it up, down. And the sole pattern on these are awesome as hell. You really can't beat that, especially in industry. If you can see those Red Wings, they are just bald as all hell. You're slipping, you're sliding, you're grabbing a tire, you're moving, you slip. You know, you're prone to injury right there. Whereas with the Red Bags, I feel like they have held up. Their soles really nice. And I've talked to a lot of guys that have owned them for years, and those soles are almost indestructible. Super cool. That's all for today's video. Thanks a whole bunch for tuning in. If you guys feel like I missed any important tools, essential tools for those out of those 7 lists, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Once again, thanks a whole bunch for watching. Have a great day.